just pick two. Oh no, you gotta pick three, or we ain't picking you. Three Picks, the podcast.
Hey, welcome to Three Picks, a podcast that is usually concerned with three movies each, but today we are doing our top 10 movies of the year. So far, this is a little more of an informal episode, not our usual format. If you want to check out our usual format, listen to almost any other episode except for this one. My name is Clint Tomerlin, and this is my buddy Chris Kennedy. How's it going, Chris?
Wait, Clint, you're telling me that the name of this podcast is Three Picks, but this week we have 10.
Yeah, 10 picks.
Whoa, dude, this is too much. This is too much.
Well, as we've seen,
I hope the listeners can handle it.
you know, as we've seen with the Odyssey coming out, media literacy is at its lowest. So it's important, you know, to clearly state these things. Chris and I actually, we were one of the unlucky people that got kicked out of a 70 millimeter IMAX in San Antonio at the River Center because they had 3 years to fix these issues between Oppenheimer and Odyssey, and they did not fix it.
No, and I've got a bone to pick with AMC. I've got a bone to pick with Fandango because we had, well, first off, we did get to see the movie over at the Palladium IMAX. No, not in the IMAX, but we saw it on 70 millimeter. Very first day, very first showing. Straight up one line review. It's a masterpiece. Just hands down. I think it's almost undeniable. But we had tickets to the 2 p.m. show yesterday down at the actual 70 millimeter IMAX here at the River Center. And we know that there's been issues with that camera and that setup, and it continually breaks down. And that theater is well beyond the need of a renovation at its seats. It's the most uncomfortable theater ever. But it's one of the two places in Texas that you can actually see true IMAX 70 millimeter. And so we go, and as we're going there, I noticed on my app that our showtime has been changed from 70 millimeter, and that has just disappeared. It just says IMAX. And so we're like, that's a little weird. Didn't get an email, no kind of notification, nothing whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a suboptimal way of handling it, and we'll get into a little more of the Odyssey later, because yeah, as Chris said, masterpiece. Spoiler alert: it will be on our lists. But I think so far it's been a great year for movies. I have probably like 15 or 16 movies that could have been in my top 10. It's definitely a very subjective how I'm feeling day of like, I guess this is number 10, you know. And I mean, lists are always subjective, but they're also so much fun. And so I guess we'll start off with my number 10 movie is, I wanted to show this movie some love because I didn't hear enough talk about it, and it seems like one of those movies that I think horror fans will find whenever it hits streaming. I think it'll kind of breathe new life into it. But this is a movie called Leviticus. This is directed by Adrian Chiarella, and it stars Joe Bird and Stacey Clausen, who I did not know. I don't know if this is some of their first movies, but it does have Mia Wasikowska, who helped produce it, and she, you may remember from Stoker or Only Lovers Left Alive, Crimson Peak. And so now I'm at the age where she is showing up in movies as a mom, which was the first jump scare of the movie for me. I was like, wait, she's a mom of a teenage boy? Are we, wait, what? How old am I? But this movie is about two teenage boys who must escape a violent entity that takes the form of the person that they desire the most, which happens to be each other. Now, it's getting a lot of comparisons to It Follows, you know, which I affectionately call ST Demon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. STI. They're STIs.
I know, but ST Demon is just too good. Which It Follows is great. I like this conceit a little more because it's not about sex necessarily. It's just literally there's an entity that appears as whoever you desire the most. And so these two teenagers who are into each other, they're in a very conservative small community, and there's a religious undercurrent. They go to church, which was cracking me up because there was really shitty modern Christian music in it at the church, and I was like,
Isn't most Christian music shitty?
yeah, it's true. I guess it's implied. I don't have to say that, but I was like triggered. And I don't want to give away too much because not many people have seen this. So I will say it is a horror based off of the conversion experience, that conversion therapy in this community has actually invited a demonic sort of entity as opposed to converting, these kids from gay to not gay is what the adults think. What it's actually doing is it's playing out as like a great metaphor for their community is trying to kill them, and what's trying to kill them is, their differences, that they desire each other, their love. And so a lot of horror movies have social conventions these days, like a depth to them. And I know you get annoyed, Chris, at some of the trauma, grief stuff in every horror movie. And I think this just nails it, because if you're going to go that route, then do something like this where it's insightful. It has impact. It's still scary. There's like some jump scares and things in this that got the entire theater I saw it in. And then also just these two actors, these two leads, they just act their ass off. So we'll see. I don't know if it'll be top 10 by the end of the year, but right now for sure when it hits rent and stream, go check out Leviticus.
Yeah, and I have not had a chance to see this one just yet. This was a classic example of Chris canceling plans. Behind the scenes, Clint and I usually plan at least a movie a week, sometimes more. But if it's more than one a week, probably one of those showings, I'm gonna say, you know what, I'm not. I have no problem canceling plans.
Yeah, it's true. And
in my old age. Now, as far as like trauma and all that stuff goes, you know what? If every movie used trauma as a plot device in some way, shape, or form, and it's a good movie, I do not care.
Yeah.
As long as it is a good movie, it's great. What I've just seen over time is just like so many of these kind of independent, smaller horror movies, which have propped up the box office quite a bunch over the last couple of years. But they're always like, these are all 3-star movies. Nothing is like jumping out high. It's not terrible. It's just like, that was fine. I may watch it again. I may pick up the 4K, but it's not like blowing me away necessarily in any way. I am very, very much looking forward to Leviticus. However, as it stands the day of this recording, it's not in theaters and it's not anywhere on digital yet. And I don't even know when it will be. But I think you should be seeing it pop up on like for an Apple rent/buy here pretty soon.
Yeah. And the other thing is it's 88 minutes.
Buddy, my kind of time.
I know. You should have gone. You could have been home snuggled in your little bed. Ugh, that's my number 10, Leviticus. So what's your number 10, Chris?
All right, my number 10 is the day that Steven Spielberg has made. I am going to rejoice and be glad in it. This is the Disclosure Day, as I already mentioned, directed by Steven Spielberg, written by David Koepp, longtime collaborator, and it stars the oh so lovely and beautiful and sexy Emily Blunt. If every movie had Emily Blunt in it, I would just be okay with that. You got Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell. And I guess the crux of this is, what if somebody who was a government contractor decided to tell the truth? And we go on this wonderful, very kind of classic Spielberg adventure. You've got Emily Blunt doing alien ASMR, clicking like, man, put on my headphones and I'll fall asleep to that every single night. I absolutely love listening to Emily Blunt making clicky sounds. But yeah, I'm going to try to not spoil. A lot of people have probably not still seen a lot of these movies, so try not to spoil too much. But there are a lot of really wonderful set pieces in this. There's some, I really love it recently. I've had a really great kind of month theatrically, both, live stage play and movies. I saw both the Odyssey and the Invite within a couple of days of each other, and just, good, fantastic. But Disclosure Day very much reminded me of the summer blockbusters that I used to watch in the 90s. Like I felt like I was watching Independence Day again, or Armageddon, or something like that. And is it a 5-star classic? It absolutely is not. And I may go back and watch it again and bring down my star rating, but I'll tell you this much. It was a afternoon. We saw it together in 70 millimeter over at Palladium. Full crowd. They weren't all necessarily into it, but I tell you what, the last 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know what's going to happen. And, there's a lot of this and that about, oh, it wouldn't really happen that way. Or, that's not how people operate. You know what? It's a movie.
Yeah.
And it's okay when things don't go the way they actually would in real life, and allow me to have a little bit of escapism that if someone decided to tell the truth about aliens, to tell the truth about something in government, that the world might come together. And
Right.
that brings me hope. And I had a wonderful time watching this movie. You've got Coleman. I could also listen to Coleman Domingo talk on a Bluetooth headset
Yeah.
for hours on end.
Which is pretty
That
much
man
his
has a rich
entire
velvety
role.
voice.
Yeah, that's like his entire role in the movie is to
Pretty
talk
much.
on phones.
But a lot of cool stuff. There's little bit. It's not a perfect movie by any means. It's not even. It's probably not even in my top 15 Spielberg movies necessarily. But because of the theatrical experience that I had, and I do think if you don't see this in the theater the first time, if you're watching this on a small TV screen, you're probably. I don't know that that's a great experience necessarily for this one. I go out and see it while you can and get that experience, that feeling, because it's I think it's just this is meant to be seen in theaters.
I agree. As Chris mentioned, I was there. It was actually, I think, the first 70 millimeter showing that Palladium did ever was that 2 p.m. that day, that Thursday. Yeah, I think we were there, which makes sense. It stopped during the trailers, the Dune 3 trailer. But I like the movie. I really loved Emily Blunt. I think it's a fantastic performance from her. There's some really cool action sequences that Spielberg's just still got it. There's also some pretty stupid stuff in that it's like I think if someone was trying to pass it off as a very smart movie, I would be annoyed at them. But if someone was like, it's kind of that goofy, dumb, optimistic Spielberg, hope core, and I love that. So sue me, and I'm like, yeah, I really enjoyed that too. Like I left the theater, smiling. Like
all about the Hope Corps right now, and it has done decent. It's made I'm seeing here $230 million worldwide, so not amazing, but we'll take it this day and age.
Solid, nice.
So that's my number 10, Disclosure Day. It is still a high recommend from me.
Yeah.
But now on to your number 9, Clint, which I believe this is the only bad movie on our list.
Wow, this movie is so much better than Disclosure Day. This is the smash actual sci-fi hit of the year, Project Hail Mary. And I'm glad that this is being recorded because Chris will eat crow, next year. I guarantee you some episodes like, you know what? I revisited Project Hail Mary and it's actually kind of great. Like
whenever The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, but The Rock in this movie wins Best Supporting Actor, because all of a sudden we're going to start doing that.
I mean, okay, but we can't get annoyed that Andy Serkis doesn't get nominated and Zoe Saldana doesn't get nominated for Avatar. And then if someone actually does a performance like this and gets nominated, that should be a win. We shouldn't just roll our eyes.
I can.
You could roll your eyes at anything. And I would say it's the best use of a puppet in a movie all year. It's incredible. It's tactile. Obviously, everyone knows about this movie. If you haven't seen it, I won't go into too many spoilers, but there's a fucking rock in the movie at this point. And if you don't, I'm sorry. It's like missing E.T. 4 months after it came out. And, but Project Hail Mary is about a scientist who's saving the world, and he's a movie star. And he's got the riz, and he's hilarious, and he's emotional, and it plays to all of Gosling's strengths. And he befriends a space rock, and the sets are very real and tactile, and the space stuff, for me, the stuff shot out in space was impressive. And if you really want to get a feel for how much they put in Project Hail Mary, listen to interviews from Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who directed it, because they put a lot in this movie, and it really feels like a middle finger to Star Wars and Lucasfilms to be like, you could have had this for Solo and you fired us. And honestly, Project Hail Mary looks and sounds better than most of the Star Wars stuff, especially the Disney Plus stuff, minus Andor. It makes me wonder if Ryan Gosling got the Star Wars Starfighter movie that's coming out, next year, because they were privy to Project Hail Mary and they were like, oh yeah, this guy looks good in space. We gotta snatch him up.
I mean, he is sexy. He's just a sexy
good-looking
man.
guy.
He's
And
a sexy, funny boy.
And Project Hail Mary, there's really not a lot I can say other than take your family to see it, or now it's on, streaming on MGM, Amazon, whatever. Read the book. It's all just good stuff. It's just good.
Yeah, I love this movie so much that I was actually in the middle of the book and I stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris is allergic to.
However, I have to condone. Go see it, or I guess it's not even. Is it even? It's. I guess it's just out on streaming now.
Yeah, they'll put it back though. Because it's one of those. It's the big March movie that took over, dominated. It's made so much money, It was a huge success, and I think because it's gonna want to come back into the Oscar conversation, and it's Amazon's big push for a real Oscar contender. So I think they'll re-release it, sometime I think in the fall or winter for like a week. Probably, if there's a gap for IMAX screens or something, because it looks and sounds great on a big screen. Yeah, so my number 9, at least for now, is Project Hail Mary, and you've probably already seen it. I think it's probably the most watched movie we're going to talk about today
Very likely.
until a couple weeks go on with the Odyssey.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my number 9 is actually your number 3, so we'll hold on my number 9
yeah.
until we get to because you ranked it a little bit higher.
Yeah,
So I'm going to move on to
your
my
goal.
number 8. My number 8 is a documentary put together by Alex Ross Perry, narrated by Maya Hawke, and it is called Video Heaven. Now, Video Heaven is a 173-minute documentary, and it's kind of like in an essay form almost, and it utilizes lots of different movie clips, commercials, TV scenes, all this kind of stuff to examine representation of video stores in pop culture. And so it goes through the history of video stores and pretty much it documents the very first time that a video store was ever put on film, which I thought was kind of cool, and goes through the evolution and how even the physical spaces were changed, how a lot of times those independent smaller video stores became really great community spaces, and that back in the day, now we go to ChatGPT, you have an algorithm on your TV that serves everything up. If you wanted to go and get a suggestion for a movie that you had not seen before, I want to see something like this, you had to rely on the guys that worked at the video store.
Yep.
Or the guys and the gals,
Tarantino,
and whoever, all the people. And this was just a really fun watch for me to see that and understand that the idea of a video store, the life of a video store had a relatively short time from about the mid to late 80s and then kind of ending in the early 2010s to I know there's still a few out there, but on a large scale, we don't have video stores anymore. I mean, you Target, Best Buy, these places aren't even carrying movies
hardly
anymore.
Yeah.
And so to think that something like the video store has actually pretty much gone extinct. And there is this wonderful documentary that kind of puts it all out there and documents it. I had such a wonderful time watching it. It is a very, very long documentary, but honestly, I watched it in one sitting and really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, that is Video Heaven, available, I believe, on the Criterion channel right now.
Okay, I will. It's on my watch list. The only thing I've seen from Alex Ross Perry is his segment in last year's VHS Halloween.
The kid print?
Kid print, which was the most fucked up, disturbing segment in VHS history, maybe. I think in all of the movies, across all of them, I was like, oh, that's the worst one for sure.
He's got it. I always enjoy listening to him on the other movie podcasts. He does a great one. I believe it's on the Blank Check podcast. Okay. He was on for Fight Club, and that was an interesting episode. Okay. Yeah,
I'll check that out. Where is it? Is it Criterion?
Criterion, yeah.
Channel streaming? Okay. I got to start watching that because it's going to take forever. So that was your number 8. My number 8 is just a funny horror throwback, really. This is Send Help. I haven't seen a movie like this in the theater. Honestly, probably since Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. That's what it reminded me of. Just that propulsive, kind of gross, funny mix that Sam Raimi just, he's just perfect at. This is Rachel McAdams, of course, the beautiful, wonderful, underrated Rachel McAdams. We need to get her an Oscar for something. And I really think Rachel McAdams shines in comedy. Like Game Night, she's so incredible in Game Night. I mean, I'm dialed in for any Sam Raimi movie right off the bat, but the conceit is really cool. If you missed the trailer when it played 1,000 times before every movie earlier this spring, I saw the trailer like 30 times. But it's about 2 coworkers who get stranded on a desert island. They're the only survivors of a plane crash. And on the island, they have to learn how to work together, even though he's her boss and he's like a misogynistic douchebag Dylan O'Brien plays it very well, hams it up. You just really kind of hate this guy, and it's a survival movie, but it's also a thriller, and it's also an Odd Couple comedy. I loved it. I saw it opening weekend with a big crowd, and everyone was hooting and hollering. I don't want to spoil, but the ending is so fucking good. It really, any nitpicks that I had and some, maybe some pacing things through the movie, because it's a small story to like stretch over to like close to 2 hours. But once you get into the last 20 minutes and Sam Raimi just goes full cynical mode and it just, ain't I a little stinker mode. It's just great. Some really cool establishing shots that Sam Raimi does, and I made me want to revisit the Evil Dead series.
This may have been one of the most fun participatory movies that I got to watch this year. Was pleasantly surprised. I don't have the same background with I don't automatically get amazed whenever Sam Raimi is directing a movie. I came very late into Sam Raimi, but however, this was tremendous. And not only that, it tapped into, I love Survivor.
Okay.
I am a low-key Survivor fanatic. I have not watched it in a few years, but up until season 35, I had watched every single season, every single episode. It's a lot to keep up with sometimes. But the incorporation of some of the Survivor elements into this, the comedy, one of the most, as a man, one of, if not the most frightening moments I have ever experienced in a film is in this movie, and I'll leave it at that, not to spoil it. But it's frightening. It is absolutely oh my, they did that. Okay. But yeah, I Send Help was just outside of my top 10.
He has a way of filming gory, gross out stuff to where, as an audience member, you're gonna squirm, you're gonna be like gross, but it's not gonna pull you out of the movie. It really feels like a amusement park ride. You're like, oh shit, I can't believe. Oh, okay, on to the next thing. So yeah, if you're squeamish, watch it. Well, your number 7 is actually one of mine higher up.
Yeah, so you'll take that one.
Okay.
I guess then I will move into my number 6. We're not in the front rooms. We're in the back rooms.
Your favorite place.
Yeah, back rooms. Now I'll say this. I'm an old millennial man. I don't know anything about the genesis of this movie, the internet. Is this considered what the youth call creepypasta? Is that a thing? Is that what this is?
Yeah, it's kind of creepypasta. Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know what that is. I really don't care. However, I very much enjoyed this movie. This is Backrooms, directed, composed, written by Kane Parsons. Can you say the actors' names in this? Because I'm gonna screw it up so bad.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Renata
Reinsve. Yeah.
Reinsve. Yeah, there you go. Mark Duplass also shows up. And so this is more of a vibe of a movie. If you are one of the few, because this I think this movie has made $100 billion so far on a $1 million budget. Yeah. So lots of people have seen this. They've even come out with
it was a little more of a budget than that.
Was it?
Yeah.
And they've even come back with already another version of it that has extra footage at the end.
Yeah.
And so I guess the best way to describe this is there's a man who manages and owns a furniture store. He's going through some grief, some isolation, and so one day he goes downstairs and he discovers that there is this, kind of portal that he can go through a wall into my new favorite phrase, a liminal space. Yeah. And I think we need a lot more liminal spaces in movies today. And it is just these, they're very familiar spaces that you might see if you go to an old shopping mall or something like that, the back of a department store, just very environmental, kind of creepy. It doesn't seem like there's any end to it. It's almost like if you were exploring somebody's mind in the dark depths of what goes on down there. Heard a lot of people say that this is very Lynchian. And so, yeah, kind of ish. There's one scene in particular that I felt was more Lynchian than others, but I think on a couple of podcasts that I've listened to, the best way to kind of think of this is this is, and the reason I chose this one is that this is truly probably going to be the start of a new generation of filmmakers. These filmmakers that came up through YouTube and those other places on the internet I don't ever explore. We'll talk about another one that kind of is in that regard of new filmmakers, but I'm very excited, very very looking forward to what these directors and these filmmakers do next. And with Backrooms, I don't know if there's necessarily too much to spoil, but man, there's like here's what I'll say: there's some freaky ass shit in this movie.
Yeah,
there's stuff that just like makes my skin crawl, and it's not even necessarily because something there is like the occasional jump scare here and there, but. Yeah. It's not about that. Not about that at all. And so I recommend, if you are the like 3 people that have not seen Backrooms, go see Backrooms while you can in the theater. But this is also one that I think is actually going to play very well at home as well.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, is how well it'll play at home. I've seen it twice now in the theater, so obviously I liked it. It's like right outside my top 10. The atmosphere and vibe is great. The second time I took my brother to see it because Chris canceled on me. And and he had never seen it. He didn't know anything about the Backrooms. And it's interesting because we were in a theater with like, there was a group of, most of them were like, I not to be disrespectful, even though they're probably 20 years old, but kids, is what it feels like when you're in your 30s. I'm surrounded by a bunch of kids, and they're like wouldn't shut up about the lore before the movie started and all of the videos that they've been watching, because Kane Parsons has built this mythology, and as much as the movie seems to be obscuring so much, there's really actually a lot of answers to the Backrooms that I'm glad I didn't know about, because I think it's a better experience to just go in blind. And sitting next to someone who had not seen it before was almost a better experience the second time than the first time.
Ooh.
To see them go through.
Maybe I need to take a Hinge date to see this.
For sure. You for sure. Well, hey, ladies, if you're out there,
would you like to come to the Backrooms?
The movie, Everything Must Go edition, of course. But great movie. Makes you just seethe with jealousy to know that a 20-year-old could cook out a movie like this. It's crazy.
It's okay. It's I guess it's $360 million on a budget of about 10.
Yeah.
So they're doing pretty well.
The biggest A24 box office success they've ever had.
They made a mistake though. It should have just been called Backroom. So the sequel could have been called Backrooms.
No, that's gonna be like Backtombs. A good pick. It's one of those that'll be fun to introduce to people in your life if they've never seen it. That was your number 6. So we're going to my number 7, because my number 6 is one of yours later. I think this is the most recent one I've seen on my list. Yes, it is. This is Maddie's Secret. This is the debut film from actor-comedian John Early. He directed and wrote this movie. If you're a fan of like I Think You Should Leave, or some of the kind of the alt comedians around that scene, Would It Kill You to Laugh, which is the John Early and Kate Berlant comedy, like the skit show they did. You're familiar with John Early. I don't know movie wise. I was trying to think. I guess he was in, what is it, Neighbors 2, the Seth Rogen, the sequel, the comedy.
Never seen it.
It's it's actually worth watching. A conversation for another day. And then he had a small role in The Disaster Artist, and then I did not see it, but last year's Eternity, he's also in that. But John Early is a very gifted comedian. He's one of those guys. You see his face in this movie. I don't want to spoil it, because there's a very it's Maddie's Secret, and I think the marketing has done a good job of kind of dealing with the fact that this movie is all over the place tonally, and it's a very singular, unique movie-going experience. It's why it made it into my top 10 and could hold on there for most of the year, because I keep thinking about the movie. It's about Maddie, obviously Maddie's Secret. It's about Maddie, who John Early plays like he is playing Maddie, and Maddie's a woman. And that is how it's played. It's not done as a joke, anything like that. Like John Early just plays Maddie. And Maddie's a dishwasher who likes to make food content on her own time. And due to some things that happen, she starts to get a little traction with her food content. And there's some amazing, the writing of this is incredible. There's some very astute observations of the social media content culture in this movie. There's also, if you're a fan of Showgirls, this movie is very much like that intersection of campiness and seriousness, where you're like, The first time you watch the movie, you might be like, this is a little too silly for me. And then the second time you watch it, you're like, shit, like this is so sincere. It's campy, but there's also some real heft and drama to it under the surface that they're playing it. So I heard someone call it Showgirls Interrupted, which is
As long as there's a wild French fry scene,
so
man,
there's
let's
some
go.
wild food scenes in this, and I know John Early said Showgirls was an inspiration. It's too dismissive to say, well, it's just a campy movie because it's like there's camp, but there's also I teared up in scenes. There's a sincerity that John Early is putting in this movie that at one moment you're just laughing because they'd have throwaway lines like where Maddie gets invited to a workout class by her lesbian friend who played by Kate Berlant, who's fucking incredible in this, very underrated comedian. But she invites her to this like LGBTQ movement and dance class, and Maddie goes like, "Are you sure it's okay that I show up?" And she goes, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, she goes, "Really? Like an ally like me?" And moments like that just, I mean, killed. And I did see it in a crowd. There was some gay people, some straight people, some older people, some younger people. So it was a fun mixed crowd, and everyone, like, you could tell some of the stuff people were dialed into, and others they weren't. I'm really excited for you to see this, Chris. I'm really excited for people in general to see it because I don't know what people are going to think. I do know that critically it's been pretty acclaimed across the board. It legitimately feels like Todd Haynes and John Waters had a baby and Maddie's Secret came out of that. So
yeah, this is one I haven't seen, and I'm very looking forward to it just simply based on your recommendation, because you were talking a little bit about the marketing. They've done a great job on the marketing, because I don't know anything about this movie, nor had I could say, heard about it until you had mentioned it. So it's rare that happens. And so when I hear that, I'm like, let's go.
a lot of these movies we're talking about today, they work so well because they're building off of so much of the genre tropes. And Maddie's Secret works by working against that, where you're like, oh, I don't really know what to expect and anything could happen at any moment. And there's no blueprint for this. So yeah, check it out.
All right. On to my number 5, which also is your number 6.
Yes.
And so this is another little A24 gem.
Yeah.
It's an A24 gem produced by the very optimistic Ari Aster. And so starring Zendaya. Thank you so much. You're the name pronuncier
yeah, it's in the text.
in this duo. Robert Pattinson, Alana Haim. And this is the drama, and the drama, directed by Christopher Borgli, is it's about a very, very happily engaged, well-to-do couple. Where are they, in Boston or New York? Forget what the exact setting was. Emma and Charlie, and so they are getting ready for this big, huge, elaborate wedding. They're taking dance lessons to do their dance. Like, they're doing all the very cliche-ish type things that you would see couples doing on social media and getting ready for the big day, all that kind of stuff. Everything I have completely and utterly rejected in my life. And so
how do I make sure I don't turn out like you?
And so they're sitting down with their friends, and they're tasting wine, and they're sharing. And then I won't. This happens very, very, like, within the first 10 or 15 minutes of this movie, but there is a very significant plot point.
Don't spoil it.
That I'm not going to spoil, because this is best left for the viewing experience. That happens, and all of a sudden everybody is looking at one of the characters in a very, very different light. And then what proceeds from there is a re-examination of everything that they are doing. Even within like the very first scene of this movie, you get kind of I'm out dating, I've been single my entire life. And so you get this kind of supposedly like meet cute situation at the very beginning of this movie, before they get engaged, and everything's just a little bit off, or like, you're like, really, you did that? Like, but it's also these are things people do. And it's so very true to life. And for me, the core of this was examining how much someone's past affects your future. And that's so whenever you are getting out on dates and you're like, okay, well, tell me about your last relationship, or tell me about this. What does that really, it asks the question, what does that matter? moving forward, because the plot point that is brought up is so significant and can incredibly affect the way that you would look at somebody. And so does somebody's past affect the way that you look at them now? And not only that, but there are so many awkward, weird, strange situations that end up happening in this movie that it is one of the most hilarious movies. It is one of those where like some shit goes down and your jaw is just on the floor, but at the same time you are covering your mouth laughing. You're not even sure if you're supposed to be laughing at this thing. And so yeah, it's really hard because within the first 15 minutes the movie changes, and so
Yeah.
it's hard to talk about very specific events. All I can say is
It is.
it's very dark. It explores some very dark events that has affected everyone in this world.
Yeah.
And go see it. Was it still? I think it's still playing in a few places right now. But tremendous performances by both Zendaya and Pattinson. I could see Pattinson if he's got multiple things that he could potentially go up for an Oscar this year. I think this might be I haven't seen Dune 3 yet, but this could be the vehicle that these two go for their performance Oscars this year. So
yeah.
High recommend. And plus the supporting cast, Alana Haim, great.
I would put her for supporting actress. She
100%.
steals the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. She's great. So yeah, that's the drama.
Yeah, it's great. We saw this together, and yeah, it touches a real third rail topic in America, and I delighted in it. I was surprised. Christopher Borgli, the director, he did Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage, which I didn't love, but I did like it.
That was a vibe.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It was a vibe. He's Norwegian. What the hell does he know about America? But apparently, quite a bit. Yeah. So yeah, that was also.
This one goes beyond. This one goes beyond thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, it's a good one. There's like a stretch in the last 30 minutes that it's just the most. I was like anxious and laughing, and
I laughed, I cried, I ran the gamut of emotions in this one.
It's a good one. So now we're up to my fifth, which was your sixth.
Number 7
or 7.
Yeah, this was my number 7.
And this is now, it just hit Peacock actually a few days ago. We're recording this in July. I don't know when the episode will drop, probably in the next couple of weeks. So, but anyways, Obsession. Curry Barker's Obsession, the biggest success of the year, and that's not going to change no matter how much money the Odyssey makes. The Odyssey cost $250 million. Obsession costs like $800,000. So, and it's the first movie since E.T. to climb higher and make more money consecutive in its first like few weeks of being open. It continually made more every week, which is crazy because word of mouth. Everybody I know, people that aren't even horror heads, went to go see this movie to check it out. I had the pleasure of taking a friend, my friend Carl, to see it the second time I watched it, and it plays well the first time, the second time. It's another one that, you probably have had some spoilers or you've seen it. I won't get too spoilery, but it is not a spoiler to say it's about a young man, Bear, who is obsessed with his friend Nikki and has feelings for her, and he finds a one-wish willow from a little shop in town and wishes for Nikki to love him more than fucking anyone else in the world, and he gets his wish. So the star of this movie is Indy Neverready. She will
spectacular,
in my opinion, still nominatable performance. Even this far into the year, she is incredible. The movie maybe like a little long, like just a hair, which I feel that about a lot of movies, but otherwise,
it's surprised for me. I didn't feel that at all. I thought the length was perfect.
That's what she said.
Yeah, baby. Oh yeah. But
another YouTube star, Curry Barker, he and his friend Cooper Tomlinson, who is also in this movie, is Ian. They have the That's a Bad Idea sketch channel on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, and they're really funny and they go really dark places, and Curry Barker, like, he made short horror films, and I've followed him over the last few years, like a lot of people, just watching his skits but also watching his little horror movies, and I think everyone knew he had something in him like this, but I don't think anyone expected it to be the success that it turned out to be. It's just a great movie. I hate the discourse around it online. It's one of those movies that got too big that now I have to read either the most obvious takes or just the most incel takes, where men trying to be like, really, Nikki's a bad person, and I'm like,
I'm
what
so glad I
the?
haven't read any of
Yeah,
that
oh,
shit.
dude, the internet is the worst. Between Obsession takes and Odyssey takes, media literacy is
This is the break for me out of all
done.
these like horror movies that have been coming out over the last couple of years that are like all 3 stars. This one is like 4.5, maybe even a 5
Yeah, it's great.
after more viewings, maybe.
I don't want to spoil any of the fun moments, because you should just watch it and enjoy it. But it's a ride. It's a roller coaster ride, and it's one that I would suggest to couples to watch because there are some funny rom-com tropes that he sends up and some things in it that, you can look away on the couple of bloody scenes that it has. And I think most people can ride with this, even though it's got some really gnarly horror stuff in it. It's a horror
Mhm.
movie that I would suggest to people who aren't even fans of horror. Give it a chance. I think it's a roller coaster ride you're going to want to take.
Romantic nightmare thriller.
Yeah. So, yeah, Curry Barker's Obsession. Everyone's talked about it. We can't really add too much to the discourse other than the movie fucking rips. And if you haven't seen it, why have you not seen it? That's my take.
All right, so your number 4, I have higher up. Yeah. My number 4 is quite simply the most delightful time that you can have in the movie theater this year. If you enjoy being happy, if you enjoy animals, and if you enjoy Hugh Jackman, who I think is an amazing performer, this is The Sheep Detectives, and it is directed by Kyle Balda, screenplay by Craig Mazin, based on the novel Three Bags Full. Now, this has a ton of people in it. We got Hugh Jackman, Nicholas Braun, Nicholas Glitzen, that's He-Man, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's He-Man, which I almost made my list. He-Man, don't sleep on He-Man. That movie's too long. Anyway, Molly Gordon, Hung Chow, Emma Thompson, and you got the sheep. And there are so many wonderful voices, including Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Bryan Cranston, Chris O'Dowd, Regina Hall, my favorite, Patrick Stewart, Bella Ramsey, Brett Goldstein. And so basically the idea here is that you have a shepherd played by Hugh Jackman, and he has all these wonderful sheep. He takes care of them. He loves them. He has relationships with them. He reads them stories at
Relationships?
night. It really is. He's
But
friends
no-
with
oh,
the
yeah.
sheep. Not like, God damn it, Clint. Get your fucking mind out of the gutter. There's no
Sorry,
sheep
that's-
fucking. There's no sheep fucking in this movie.
The porn parody of Sheep Detectives.
This is the family-friendly section of the podcast.
Sorry.
This is the movie that the families go to because I know all the families listen to this one.
For sure.
He's a shepherd. He reads murder mysteries to his flock every night. And so they're getting an education, a development skills in solving crimes. And so, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler.
No, it's in the trailer.
He's murdered pretty quick into this movie. And so the sheep then go into detective mode and they're interacting with all the different humans. And it's just, you get a lot of great ideas about community and who belongs within a community and the acceptance of people that are different within a community. I mean, this is done through sheep. Well, what's the name?
Winter Lamb.
Winter Lamb. Yeah, there you go. Winter Lamb.
Because
I
they're not
identify-
usually born as in the winter. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
I was born a winter lamb, and
Yeah.
so to experience this through film, through these animals, I don't think I've had such a good time watching a movie like this since maybe Babe. I mean, like Babe was, and even Babe Pig in the City. I love those two, and so yeah, this is such a good time, a fun time, an enjoyable time. Don't go into it expecting like highfalutin. This probably won't get nominated for anything, I don't think. But you know
Probably
what?
not.
If you just want to feel good for a little bit over an hour, watch The Sheep Detectives. It is a beautiful, beautiful movie. I guess it's made here about $66 million domestically, $75 million budget. So it hasn't been doing too well, but
Yeah. Yeah.
this is just a lovely movie. I don't have much more to say about it other than I just had a big smile on my face. I cried a little bit too.
Yep.
Really wonderful movie.
It's great. My wife and I both. I think it's maybe still my wife's number one movie of the year that she's seen of all the films. So, and this is right outside of my top 10. It's up there because I loved it. It's delightful. If they could alternate every year, I get a Paddington movie, and then the next year I get a Sheep Detective movie, and then and they just keep alternating, I'd be fine with that. And Sheep Detective is just good. I don't really have much to add other than it's just a feel good, great movie.
Yeah. So if you like go, so last night I was watching Evil Dead Rise for
Which
an
is a lot like
upcoming
Sheep
episode,
Detective.
and I was gonna go do a double feature of the next Evil Dead, and I was like, I can't do two Evil Dead movies back to
Yeah.
back, and so I turned on Muppet Treasure Island. But same kind of thing. If you need a palate cleanser,
Yeah.
Sheep Detectives is a good palate cleanser.
It really is. You could double feature Obsession into Sheep Detectives.
You go.
We'll go to this is my number 3rd because my number 4th is on Chris's list later.
Yeah, and so your 3rd was my number 9.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so this is Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which is one of the better movie titles, I think, this year. But if you have never heard of this film, Matt Johnson wrote and directed it. I believe, does Jake Carroll have a writing? I think Jake Carroll has a story credit on it as well. These comedians are from Canada, and they had a web series way back in the day called Nirvana, the band, and then eventually they had a TV show and they called it Nirvana, the band, the show, and then now, all these years later, they do a movie, and that's why you get the convoluted title. But this Matt and Jay are just best buddies. They have a band, Nirvana the band, and they want to play. It's a very humble. They just want to play the Rivoli in Toronto, Canada, and it's not like a big venue or anything. But that's kind of part of the joke is that they're always scheming and plotting to try to get into the Rivoli in Toronto. And this movie, I don't want to spoil any of it. I actually don't even think you should read the synopsis to this movie because I went into it blind. My wife and I, we watched it, and I'd seen a couple of the clips from them as a band, like the Mario, the Wii store song back in the day. That was a classic clip. But other than that, I didn't really know much about them. And they're musicians, so I was like, that's interesting to me. Matt Johnson had directed the Blackberry movie, which I enjoyed, and he shows up in like what he's in Dumb Money, which wasn't a great movie, but he's great in it. So I was like, I'm down, and I think it's good to just take a chance and watch this movie if you are a fan of comedy, and also friendship, because at its heart, it really is just a hilarious movie about friendship, and it's pretty heartwarming. And I think some of without spoiling it, some of the editing techniques in this movie is the most impressive of the year. There are scenes in this movie that I still am not quite sure how they pulled off the way that they did. There's some technical things going on, even though it very much looks like a low budget movie at first, and it kind of wrong foots you because then they use this small budget and they do just some of the most incredible little moments I've seen in a comedy. And Matt Johnson I just think he's a great actor. He's got another movie coming out this year. He directed Tony, the Anthony Bourdain movie that's coming out about a young Anthony Bourdain. Matt Johnson directed that. So yeah, this is just a cult classic. I already have it on Blu-ray. I've already shown it to a bunch of friends, and you just say, trust me, and you put it in, and then everyone just starts laughing their asses off. It's great.
Yeah, I was, again, totally blind to this. I don't know much of what's going on the internet or web series or other Canadian things these days. And so I knew nothing about this, hadn't seen one clip. I don't know. I didn't know anything other than it was recommended on one of my regular movie podcasts. And I think for me, when you were talking about the editing, this is, again, one of those I'm seeing things on screen I don't know that I've ever seen before. And whenever they eventually do make that jump, I was blown, my jaw's on the floor. I'm like, how? I don't know how they're doing this. It was similar. Like I was in New York a week or so ago, and I saw the Harry Potter, the Cursed Child play. And I was a theater major. I've been doing theater and I know all the tricks and everything backstage. And they were doing some effects in Harry Potter that I was like, I have no idea how they're doing this. And
Yeah.
I love whenever I still get to enjoy the magic of something. And
Yes.
this movie is definitely magical from that perspective. Not to mention it's incredibly well written, it's
So
hilarious and incredibly enjoyable. So yeah, and it did creep its way into my top 10 as
Yeah.
well at number 9.
It's so freaking funny. It's maybe perfect, but I think it's the one that years later from now, I'll be like, maybe that was my favorite movie of that year. You know, it's one of those that I'm just always gonna love. I'm like, you know,
One that that is going to be more rewatchable than a
Yeah.
lot of, because my God, how many times are you going to be able to watch the Odyssey over and over and over again?
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's so long.
It is nice to have a movie like that. So
It's easily digestible.
yeah, this is Chris's number 3. My number 2. This is also the only sequel on either of our lists.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just noticed that looking it over. But this is 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I think this movie's so
Bone Temple's ready.
I think this movie's so badass. Nia DaCosta directed this immediate sequel to 28 years later. It does stand alone. It works, I think, on its own, but it works a hell of a lot better if you've seen 28 years later. But they couldn't be more different stylistically, the way they're shot. So I will say, if you watch 28 Years Later, because I was talking to someone the other day that they were like, you know, like the way 28 Years Later was with the very frenetic editing work and the camera style, I wasn't a fan. And so they didn't want to see Bone Temple. And honestly, Bone Temple throws all of that out. It is a more traditionally shot movie. I like Danny Boyle's style in 28 Years Later. It was one of my favorite movies last year as well. I would say if that was too stylistic for you, still check out The Bone Temple. Now, this, unlike Obsession, this is a movie where if someone tells you, you know, I'm squeamish and I don't really like horror movies, then I'd be like, well, then you don't have to see The Bone Temple, because there is, I won't spoil it, but there is a scene that takes place that is one of the most horrifying, like it's one of the most visually upsetting things, but also just what's happening to the characters and what is being conveyed in the world at that time. It is dreadful and horrifying. But also, this movie has one of the most head-banging, fist-pounding needle drops and sequences that I've ever seen. Even seeing it the second time in the theater, I just wanted to jump out of my chair and fucking headbang. I won't spoil that either, because it really is, it takes you by surprise, but it's a kind of anachronistic in how we feel these 28 years later movies and days movies have gone. Nia DaCosta just takes it and she runs with it, and she honors the world and the story while giving it its own edge that is really impressive. And Ralph Fiennes, man, how does he not? He should be, a 2-time Oscar winner by now, and he has 0. In this movie, I thought he should be a supporting actor nomination for 28 Years Later, but Bone Temple, he's more of the lead, and, he needs to be nominated. I would still nominate him right now.
I don't know if we're still doing the MTV Movie Awards, but if I could give the award to Best Couple this year, even beyond the drama and the invite or whatnot, my Best Couple award would go to to the Doctor and to Samson.
Samson, yeah. Oh, 100%.
They have such a wonderful friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times I think it's like you and me. Like you're the Doctor and I'm Samson.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a fucking pet rock. I love this movie. The production design, it brings back the Bone Temple, which we get to see a little of in the last movie, but it becomes the centerpiece. And I think this movie deserves all of the awards at this point in the year.
And if you're into baddies, Jack O'Connell is quite simply one of the best villains portrayed on screen in the last 20 years or so. And then Homeboy did it back to back with Sinners.
Yeah, he did. And really just a beautiful movie about humanity. I think, we'll go into more spoiler territory when we do our official top 10 list at the end of the year and have more conversations as the, Academy Awards and all these things that we'll talk about later in the year come out. But as it stands, I think it's a beautiful, humanity affirming movie, and reflects the moment we're in a lot of ways, in some very visceral ways and also some very hopeful ways. Bone Temple. It's my number 2 movie. Almost my number 1. Could, depending on the day, could be my number 1. I think I have some recency bias with my number 1.
It literally was my number 1 movie until this week.
Yeah.
You don't have my number 1, so I'll go. Or no, you do have my number 1. Your number 1.
My number 4.
So my number 1 is your number 4. No, wait, it's got to be your bowl.
Who's on first?
So I literally just saw this movie a few days ago. It is in limited release. Probably is not going to be there. I mean, I think it's doing relatively well for the number of screens it's on.
It's got some legs.
There is a lot of good word of mouth on it. However, go see this with a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Go see this with the crowd. This is The Invite, directed and starring Olivia Wilde, also starring Seth Rogen, Penelope Cruz, and Ed Norton. They're the only ones in the movie. It's 4 people in this movie. Written by Rashida Jones
Mm-hmm.
and Will McCormick. And I guess this is, I'm seeing here, it's actually an adaptation of a Spanish film, The People Upstairs.
Yes.
And so the idea here is that Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen are a married couple that has really, they've been married for a while. They're remodeling and rejuvenating their apartment. They're doing everything they can to make things exciting, but their marriage is just somewhat in shambles. They have a lot of resentment toward each other. They've fallen into routine. They haven't had sex in a year, and so kind of miserable, these two. And they invite their upstairs neighbors, played by Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton. Edward Norton playing my favorite named character of the year, Hawk. Hawk.
So good.
To dinner. And so this is an evening where relatively taboo topics are discussed. You go deep into relationships, into marriage, into neighbors, the dynamic of neighbors. And again, this is something that the whole crux of this movie is a spoiler.
Yeah.
What The Invite is a spoiler, and so can't go too far into that. I will say I laughed the most I have laughed in any movie this year. Not only that, this is a movie that very much, this could have very easily just been a made for HBO movie, a very quiet made for HBO movie that a lot of people miss out on, because it's very much in the style of like a play. It's just a 4-person play, one location. However, the way that it is shot, the cinematography, the editing, the score, and the performances, I have no problem saying, if all 4 of these actors and actresses got nominated for Best Actor, Supporting Actor, Actress, Supporting Actress, I would have no problem with it whatsoever. And I think it is totally deserving of it as well. Some of the best performances I've seen in quite some time. And I mean, Olivia, probably the best thing I've ever seen Olivia Wilde do.
Yeah.
I think the range on all these actors is tremendous. And not only that, but it is one of those, it reminded me a little bit. I love The Bear. And it's very similar in that experience. They're not related in any way, but I had similar experiences in that I'm laughing as hard as I possibly can. And then in like 10 seconds, I'm bawling, I'm crying. And there's so much up and down, so well paced. Probably, and I'll say this, standout of this movie is a monologue that Edward Norton gives. I won't tell you what it is, but it is spectacular. And what may even top it is Seth Rogen's reaction to this amazing monologue. So The Invite, wonderful experience. Actually, I had to use the restroom like 4 times in this movie, and I just didn't. I was sitting there like on the edge of my seat, like one of those, I'm like, I do not want to leave this movie right now.
Yeah.
And so not only that, but man, for all the guys out there, the single guys, well, the women too, Penelope Cruz is as sexy as she has. I want Penelope Cruz in this movie. She's amazing. But yeah, what'd you think about The Invite, Clint?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's the hardest I've laughed in a theater all year long. A perfect date movie. My wife and I went for date night. It's one of those that you kind of go, oh yeah, like I like these actors. I'm not really sure what the movie's going to be about. I know it's like a comedy. And it is a comedy, but yeah, I cried a couple of times. There's some real drama and really nitty-gritty relationship stuff that, for me, I think Joe and Angela, which are Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde's characters' names, like they're one of my favorite relationships I've seen on screen in a long time. Just one of the most real, authentic, while still being heightened enough in their personalities to be fucking hilarious. And Olivia Wilde, I think the mixed reception to her last movie she directed and starred in, the Don't Worry Darling, which visually has some cool stuff, but overall it's a very messy movie. I didn't really like it, but
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, I think she's been a little unfairly maligned or kind of like discredited in her career because, she also directed Booksmart, which was a really solid high school comedy. And that was her first movie she did. And, she's always been a good actress, but going toe to toe with Seth Rogen and being just as intense and just as funny, You got to give her credit for that. And then still directing the fucking movie. And the
Well,
way
yeah,
she
and
blocks all the shots are so impressive.
it's good.
She makes all the right choices, like all the right choices, while still
Yeah, and
being
I
in it.
almost think a good companion piece to this is her episode of The Studio.
Oh, yes.
You remember
yes,
that? Yeah, she gets really meta with herself as a director, and I
Yes.
loved it. And yeah, I'm like, because I was on the fence about her as like, based on this, she's tremendous as a director.
Yeah. Even with the Odyssey and all these showy movies that are going to come out performance-wise, even if the performances get lost in the shuffle by award season, if Rashida Jones and Will McCormick don't get a fucking adapted screenplay nomination, I'm going to riot, because
Yeah,
it is such a high wire act to write these characters and make it believable and as funny and insightful as it is, and that knocked out of the park. So
yeah. So many of you avid listeners of the Three Picks podcast might be like, wait a second. Chris, you're the Nolan guy. You're you're the Christopher Nolan guy, and you just said that your number one was The Invite. Yes, 100%. To me, and this is my pitch for The Invite. As impressive as The Odyssey is in executing all the things that it does, I think The Invite is just as successful, and I was in awe of it for so many different reasons. I think The Invite and The Odyssey are two of the best well-executed movies, I mean, I've ever seen. And I thought, because I go back to my theater roots, that it's hard to play comedy. And this is such a great, the timing, everything in this movie was so precise and so perfect that I think The Invite is just as impressive as The Odyssey, just in a different way.
yeah, and this is, the subjectiveness of art and movies, while still acknowledging there's an objectivity when it comes to the craft, right? Like, that's what people, when you get annoyed at like snobs, you think movie snobs or whatever, people, when they're talking about directing and the writing and it's like, well, all of these are craftsmen and craftswomen that spend years, as a musician. There's a difference between someone who knows how to play guitar and someone who doesn't. Like, there is a craft to it, even though you subjectively might love the music from the person who doesn't know how to play guitar. That's fine. I think, the Odyssey, the craftsmanship, that is so impressive. And also capturing these emotions and making it funny, like being able to tap into that and from their own crafts as actors and writers, like that is also equally impressive. And I think that's a good and fair distinction. That being said, my number one is The Odyssey, and
Which is my number two.
yeah. So, and this is one of those, once you get in the top like 5 of mine, I'm like, I don't know, at one point they were all number one, like, when I saw Nirvana, I was like, this is the best movie I've seen. They've all spent their time at number one, and I love them all. But The Odyssey is one of my favorite books when I was a kid, and I didn't even understand it. It's a story that has influenced every story going forward for the last 3,000
The
years.
one movie on our list we can probably spoil.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
From a plot perspective.
Yes, yeah. Although I don't know, we've met some people who have no fucking idea what the Odyssey is, and that it's even a book.
By the way, this is not the Odyssey written by Homer Simpson.
Yeah, no. Although I would go watch that on IMAX as well.
Oh, hell yeah, I would.
I think Christopher Nolan is to movie fandom what Taylor Swift is to music fandom. Like Christopher Nolan fanboys are the same as Swifties to me, where I'm like, no matter how much I like a Christopher Nolan movie, I'm like, do you guys have to be so annoying about it? Like, I also think he's a great director, but we need to chill out. And so for me, I don't get too hyped for his movies, just because sometimes the fandom around it gets annoying, although I still enjoy his movies. That being said, a lot of people's favorite Nolans aren't my favorites. Like Interstellar, I think is good but not great. Inception, I think is good but not great. Dunkirk, I think it's pretty damn good, but I don't even know if I'd say that I think it's great. The Prestige was my favorite movie from Nolan before The Odyssey came out, and I love Memento, so I guess I like a lot of his earlier stuff. Oppenheimer, and, we didn't have this podcast, but that year, like, that was like, Chris, that was your favorite movie that year, right? Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer's quite simply maybe my favorite movie of all time. Not what I think is the best movie of all time, but I saw it 6 times in the theater.
You did, and yeah, I went at least one of those times with you. But yeah, I only saw it twice in the theater, and I haven't seen it since. But the directing level and the craftsmanship in Oppenheimer, I was always like, that's a 4-star movie. I think the script has issues, like a lot of Nolan's films, personally, but very impressive. And so this was the first time I think that I sat in a theater and I not only loved the spectacle that someone like Nolan could bring to the table, which spectacle can be like a dirty word, but sometimes you go to the theater for spectacle, and that's okay. If it's good, it's good, And sometimes I want to be transported and I want to just be knocked off my feet by how am I transported into this world, even though I'm sitting in a theater in San Antonio, Texas. And that's the Odyssey felt like. From the very first scene, I was transported to a story that I've loved since I was a kid. There are scenes in the movie that made me tear up simply because I had only seen them in my mind from reading the book. And I don't know if I've ever had that in an adaptation before where I was moved to tears because, oh wow, this was the first fantasy I read as a kid that exploded my mind and painted these pictures in my head. And now it's not a fantasy. It's right here, 50 feet in front of me. And there's just something magic. It's something that only movies can do. And I love the written word. I love books, but there's just something special about the cinema where, yes, I know it's not real, but in that moment, it's real, when it's done just right. And Christopher Nolan and everyone involved in this movie, it obviously takes, it's not all Christopher Nolan. It takes hundreds of people to move a mountain that is the Odyssey. And we'll be talking about it, I think, a lot this year on this podcast, on everybody's podcast, and you're going to hear it during Oscar season. I personally think it's as it stands right now, I think it's going to break the Academy Award nomination record.
It's got at least like 13 categories probably locked up right away.
There's 12 or 13.
Including Best Song.
Best Song is, that's an outlier. And then performances. If the performances get nominated, you're looking at 15 to 16 nominations. But even if it didn't get any nominations, which is obviously that's not going to happen, the movie stands on its own, and I thought it was incredible. I'm not a Nolan fanboy, I did not go in being like, well, obviously this is going to be the greatest movie ever. I just went in excited to see a big epic movie, and I got even more than I could have hoped for.
Yeah, this is, no matter what your feelings are on Nolan, and it's funny for me because I am not necessarily Nolan fan, but I'm the Nolan fanboy, and I'm not Nolan fanboying over this. I did that over Oppenheimer. I did that over Dark Knight. This is just objectively, I'll say, no matter which way you look at this movie is a masterpiece. To me, it is the Lawrence of Arabia for our time, and it takes a poem that is 3,000 years old that is very familiar, or should be very familiar to us all. I mean, I think I read it in junior high, maybe the first year of high school or something like that. And it makes it so genuinely exciting and authentic and real. I applaud the choices to not see the gods in the movie at all. It brings a level of, I think, relatability and relevance to the world today. And for the main kind of, one of the main themes of this is how we treat each other. And I thought that was a really wonderful message, kind of thing. Not that, and again, for all the internet hubbub, this is not a bang you over the head with some kind of, woke this or political this or anything. Then that's not there. It's so bullshit. Don't listen to any of that kind of stuff.
You have to be looking for that.
And I'll say this. The last 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, banger, man. Oh my gosh. I never knew that mythology could be so damned exciting.
Yeah. Edge of my seat.
100%. And the score. This is one of the most unique scores that I have ever heard on a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's already done like a $264 million worldwide. I think for me, you could go on. I don't think there's a bad performance in the movie.
No.
I've seen some criticism of Tom Holland. I think this is Tom Holland's kind of like, I'm not Spider-Man only role. Matt Damon is just
maybe his best.
Yeah.
It's fine.
People
like
thank you,
Ripley. The Ripley stuff.
I think one of my personal favorites was just Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Playing Calypso on the island. Her very kind of restrained desire and obsession was it was sexy and haunting at the exact same time.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about John Bernthal, who I also just saw on Broadway in Dog Day Afternoon.
Like Odysseus.
Goddamn Telemachus, I fought with your dad in the
love him.
war. God damn it. You do get a little hint of that, but it's totally cool. It's totally
They lost
fine.
1,000 ships. Well, maybe 500 ships now. What do you think? I was just like, damn. They really were just like, could you just be
Can you do the thing you do?
yeah, the aggro Bernthal, like, and he kind of, for video gamers, I was like, he looks like Kratos. If you play video games like God of War, my man could be Kratos. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anne Hathaway
Jeez.
is amazing. One of
Yeah.
her best performances
And one of the
ever.
best representations
is
of a woman in Christopher Nolan's
yeah, that's
movies
true.
ever.
We've made strides with women in this one with Nolan. Pattinson is just a creep.
Dude, Pattinson. So my take on Robert Pattinson in The Odyssey is it cements him as Willem Dafoe 2.0.
Yeah,
This is what Willem Dafoe would be like if he was a heartthrob as well. He has this unhinged side that he can tap in with his line readings. Like in that last fight scene in the movie, he is just shouting stuff out that is so villainous and over exaggerated, and it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good shit. I think you're a troll if you are 1 star, hated it. You're just a troll, and you're just mad that this movie exists and people like it. Because even if you don't like the changes to the adaptation, you at least gotta say it's a pretty good movie. At least. It's like, come on. You guys say it's a pretty good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might not be your favorite of the year, but definitely go see it, because it might be. I guarantee you've never seen a movie like it in the theater. And don't buy into the format hype. I know we started the episode talking about our disappointment. Well, we're intense movie lovers, and that was disappointing, but we still loved the movie. We saw it in 70 millimeter. If I had seen it in digital IMAX, I would have loved the movie. If I had seen it, on just a Regal screen that didn't have any bells and whistles, I would have been like, that's a fucking incredible movie.
Honestly, it is important if you do care about movies, if you care about cinema, if you care about the experience of going to the movie theater, and you're like, oh, it's never going to go away, that's never going to be a lost art or anything like that. I challenge that, because we're here in San Antonio, where it's one of the few IMAX 70 millimeter screens, and there's nobody that can fix that that projector.
Yeah.
It breaks down all the time, and they're having to fly someone in from another state to come in, and so we barely have people that are able to operate this equipment anymore. So don't tell me that we're not in danger of some of this stuff going away.
Yeah, projectionists, that's a lost art. I mean, it's the same in the music industry. Luthiers, people who repair and work and build instruments, that's also harder and harder to find. There's entire generations that just seem to be checked out in those professions. So yeah, I love, if you can see it on film, even 35 millimeter, cherish that you have a theater in town that can play anything in film, because it's hard. It's an art unto itself. So yeah, the Odyssey, as it stands, we'll see. We'll check back in end of the year, beginning of the next year, where it shakes out. But as it stands right now, somehow Nolan did my #1 movie of the year.
That's great. Okay, so that was a lot more than our usual 3 picks. And just to recap, Clint's top 10 is number 10, Leviticus; number 9, Project Hail Mary, aka Let's Talk to a Rock; number 8, Send Help; number 7, Maddie's Secret; number 6, The Drama; number 5, Obsession; number 4, The Invite; number 3, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie; number 2, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple; and number 1, The Odyssey. My top 10 include number 10, Disclosure Day; number 9, Nirvana; number 8, Video Heaven, the documentary; 7, Obsession; 6, Backrooms; 5, The Drama; 4, The Sheep Detectives; 3, 28 Years Later; 2, The Odyssey; and number 1, The Invite.
Let us know what's some of your favorite movies of the year so far, what you're looking forward to. There's some big movies left, not just big box office movies like Doomsday and Dune 3, which Dune 3 could turn out to be an incredible movie. The trailers definitely look good.
Yeah, Timmy got a haircut.
Yeah, and then there's all the festival movies that are gonna hit, the ones that the studios hold back because they're like, this is our shot at Oscar glory, and it's great because some of those are probably gonna be really shitty, and then some of them are gonna be fantastic. So we'll see. We'll keep you all updated. But follow 3 Picks everywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple Music, Spotify. If you
smash that like button,
yes, like and subscribe, chat, and buy physical media. Go to the theater.
Criterion sale still going on.
It is, and there'll be another one. It's twice a year, so there will be another one. I think in October, maybe.
All right.
But
why don't we do this in about another 6 months?
I'm busy then, So,
busy. How about on Wednesday?
I just don't know when I'm
About
going
2
to come
o'clock?
back. I'm actually, the boys and I are going to go sack Troy. And so we might be gone a breezy 10 years, but I'll see. We'll see. Maybe.
All right. That's it.
Bye.